Remember last week when we did our episode review of episode 17 and I said this was the best episode by far? It doesn't even come close to this week's episode. Okay, the best way I could really describe this episode, again, before we jump into this is going to have massive spoilers for Dragon Ball Daima episode 18, which is far and away the best episode so far. The best way I could describe this is I got the same feeling watching this episode as I did when like Goku went Blue Kaioken versus Hit, when Goku and Vegeta fused into Vegeta Blue versus Zamasu, when Goku went Ultra Instinct against Jiren. It's like the same thing. It really evoked the same feeling from now. Obviously, everybody's gonna have different feelings towards what happened in this episode, but for me personally, I really did feel similarly to how I felt when those other massive things happened. So this really was like, you know, a very crazy episode. And it wasn't just because of one thing, it was because the entire episode was just ridiculous. So we're gonna go through this. I will just say that nothing I say in this review is going to do this episode more justice than you actually watching this episode. So I get these up as quickly as I can, but I would really suggest when possible you go watch this, because for me this is what Dragon Ball is. This episode perfectly encapsulates what Dragon Ball is and how I felt about Dragon Ball back in the heyday of the series. So I have a lot of notes here. Again, a lot of this episode, it was essentially the entire thing was action. So I can describe what happens in this episode, but it being an action episode and having a lot of different sequences, fighting scenes, it's hard for me to really describe everything that goes on without you really being able to see it for yourself. So we pick up right where we left off last time with Super Saiyan 3 Goku facing off against Goma. And this is actually one of the first scenes we see. Goku begins his attack against Goma and actually manages to inflict damage with a punch to the stomach, which is this shot right here. Goku does actually manage to do damage to Goma, which is not really something we saw too much in the previous episode. Remember, it was like all of the characters. It was Vegeta, Goku, Piccolo, Tamagami 1, Majin Do, Majin Ku. They were all fighting against Goma, and they really couldn't do anything against him. Super Saiyan 3 Goku actually is able to do some stuff against Goma. So that happens. It initially looks like Goma is actually getting overpowered by Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but quickly Goma starts to fight back, and then it appears to be kind of evenly matched. I think I'm not going to scroll up just yet because I see there's something we have to talk about. So Majin Do starts helping out Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Now this was a pretty interesting part of this. Tamagami 1 also jumps in, but Goma is just like, at this point Goma is like, I don't know if he's like Brolying or whatever, but like he's seemingly getting a lot stronger as the fight progresses. In comes Majin Ku with like a gigantic chocolate chip cookie, and he throws it at Do, and Do eats the entire cookie in one bite. Let me just see this. Do gets rejuvenated after consuming the entire thing whole, gets a massive power boost, and then what actually happens is it's him standing sort of like next to Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and he actually like grows Super Saiyan 3 Goku hair out of the back. Like, it's not actually hair, but like the back of his head gets like Super Saiyan 3 Goku looking things protruding out of it. I think there's here, this is exactly what it looks like. So it's Majin Do and Super Saiyan 3 Goku, but this is like powered up Majin Do. I don't want to call this Super Saiyan 3 Majin Do, but this is kind of what this is. And to me, this is kind of them, let me make this a little bigger. To me, this is kind of them alluding back to how when Super Saiyan 3 Goku fought Fat Buu for the first time, Fat Buu was able to copy the character's moves. Like he was copying, remember, the infamous, oh, that's Vegeta's technique. Like he was copying the Kamehameha. So Majin Buu's ability to mimic certain techniques. This, to me, sort of was that same thing. They were calling back to that with this, but I thought this was pretty interesting. Unfortunately, it doesn't last too long because, let's see here. Majin Do copies Goku Super Saiyan 3 hairstyle and flies in with Goku and begins attacking together with Goku, and they manage to actually inflict some more damage on Goma, but then Do gets worn out really fast. Like, he gets punched like once or twice, and he's worn out. and loses his power up and seemingly falls out of the fight. And I think they even make a joke too. They're like, oh, the cookie power ran out or something. So that was it was like a minute and a half, not if even that. It was like a minute long of Majin Do in this form fighting against Goma, but he does get taken out pretty quickly. Eventually, Goma unleashes the power of the third eye with a massive beam that sweeps throughout the battlefield and puts the beat down on Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So Super Saiyan 3 Goku's really getting beat down here. Goku appears as if he's almost out of the fight. So there's a scene where Goku is kind of like on the ground. He gets up, but he's like, if you guys have seen like boxing matches, sometimes a fighter will get knocked down, and then when they try and get up, they're so out of it that they like wobble around and fall down again. That's exactly what happens to Goku. Super Saiyan 3 Goku falls down, he gets up, and he literally is so out of it he can't even stand up, and he like wobbles around and he falls back down. So Goku is barely able to stand. Goma prematurely declares victory and just starts preparing a final attack to take everybody out with an attack that looks like, I wrote, Beerus's energy sphere. Not like the giant like sun looking sphere. It's like those little like they almost look like galaxies. That's essentially the attack Goma prepares, but it's a massive version of that. So here we have Goma essentially just starts pummeling Super Saiyan 3 Goku. I mean, we have like a scene where this scene right here is him just like almost like in a fighting game, when you're like comboing somebody and you're like air juggling them. That's basically what Goma's doing to Super Saiyan 3 Goku. So Super Saiyan 3 Goku manages to put up a fight for a little bit against Goma, but Goma definitely does end up overpowering him very quickly. Okay, so here comes the big scene of this episode, and this is what I would consider to be the first like holy bleep moment of Daima. Neva, the seemingly all-powerful Neva who's able to do anything, I guess. In comes Neva, and he stretches his hand out to Goku, who's like literally on the ground, like about to die almost. Goku's laying back on his back on the ground. Neva just takes his hand, stretches his hand out, and then he begins to transfer some energy to Goku. With this blue ball of energy, he transfers it to Goku. Goku, I mean, I'm going to do my best to describe this, but this is something you're going to have to watch. Goku becomes engulfed in a blue light, and it seems like he's almost transferred to like a different dimension. It's like, the best way I could describe it is like in Endgame or Infinity War when Thanos is in like the Mind Stone dimension. It's kind of like that, but it's all blue. And Goku's body lifts off the ground, and then he obviously starts going through some kind of transformation. It shows his hands getting bigger. It shows him growing a tail, and it does seem him growing seemingly reddish fur. And Goma begins to launch his attack at Goku with that like sphere of energy. And he launches it at Goku, and it doesn't fully show us what Goku looks like in this new form yet, but Goku is able to essentially just block the attack and send it right back at Goma. He does scream when he does it, but it doesn't seem like it takes that much effort. Then the camera pans out, and it finally does show Goku in his new form, and we're going to scroll up and we're going to see this, and it is basically just Super Saiyan 4. This is what the form looks like. This is a part of the transformation sequence. So Hype did not capture the first part of the sequence, which is what I was talking about when Neva gives him the energy, and he's like surrounded by these like, it almost looks like strands of DNA is what it looked like to me initially. But here's some shots of Goku. It's him looking at his body. So basically what happens is he powers up. I mean, this is like a very, very well done power up scene, transformation sequence. He sends, so I think this is actually first. So this happens, then he sends the energy sphere back at Goma. So the energy sphere starts out looking like the Beerus like galaxy thing, and then I guess it just morphs into like a traditional like supernova looking one. Sends it back at Goma, and then he does this, and he kind of like looks at himself like, okay, what is this form? So this is what Goku looks like. They don't name the form in this episode, but it is just Super Saiyan 4. Now, the interesting thing about this is obviously the hair is not black. The hair is red. I don't know if this was a conscious decision. I think probably the reason why they did this is to at least differentiate it a little bit from GT Super Saiyan 4 form. Now, obviously, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta does have red hair. This actually really reminds me of this form, really reminds me of Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4. from Dragon Ball Heroes. It essentially is this with the red eyes and the red hair. But this is now a Toriyama version, I guess, of Super Saiyan 4. Again, they don't name the form, so the actual official name of this form might not be Super Saiyan 4, but this is Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So Super Saiyan 4 Goku does actually make an appearance in Dragon Ball Daima, which makes sense. There was an interview that came out recently with, I believe it was Akio Yoku, and he said one of the huge driving factors behind a lot of the decisions that were made in Dragon Ball Daima's creation was to appease Dragon Ball GT fans, and a lot of these plot points, which we're going to talk about later in this episode too, were because of Dragon Ball GT, and they took a lot of inspiration from GT. So Goku transforms. Super Saiyan 4 Goku is here, and then I put in parentheses with red hair. Neva nods in acknowledgement. Again, Neva just seemingly is able to do literally anything. He doesn't say, and he literally doesn't say a single thing. He doesn't say a single word in this sequence. He just goes in, powers up Goku. Goku powers up, and then Neva just nods. That's all he does. Goku gets ready to fight, and he does like his fighting stance, and then we cut to commercial. So this was a very hype moment, and I knew if they were going to give us a new fusion, which might be coming, if they were going to give us a new form for a character, which they did, I knew it was going to happen, and then they were going to cut to commercial, because that's usually how Dragon Ball works, usually how most shows work. So we do have actually Super Saiyan 4 Goku here, and this was pretty insane. So we come back from commercial, and we have Goku and Goma clashing, but Goku seems as though he's easily initially able to overpower Goma and counter his attacks, and he's also outmatching Goma's speed as well. But we see kind of, again, this sort of fits in with like the thing I was talking about earlier with Broly. It's almost as if the third eye is like, it's not even really Broly, it's kind of like Metal Cooler. Remember how Metal Cooler, whenever he takes hits, whenever he takes damage, he like amplifies himself so that the same mistake cannot be made multiple times. That is almost what it looks like to me with the third eye. The third eye is compensating for errors that Goma is making as he fights. So Goku, there's a scene where Goku actually punches Goma, and it looks like it initially has an effect, but then you see the third eye like blinking, like it flashes, and then Goma actually gets powered up, and he's able to counter Goku after he does that. So the third eye really is almost compensating for Goma's weaknesses during this fight, where even though it looks like Goku as Super Saiyan 4 Goku initially has a massive advantage over Goma, the third eye is really just carrying here. The third eye is just carrying Goma. So Goma continues fighting back against Goku. Goma tries to send a bunch of rocks and boulders at Goku through the air using the power of the third eye. Yeah, so if you guys remember, he's able to like control objects. So he engulfs a lot of these like boulders with a purple aura, and then he starts throwing them at Goku. It's kind of similar to like Kefla's attack against UI Goku, where UI Goku is like navigating through all the rocks, and he's like powering up the Kamehameha. Goku is not powering up the Kamehameha right here, but he's like jumping through all the rocks and avoiding all these like boulders, and he gets to Goma, and he's able to navigate through them and hurl a massive energy blast into Goma, which sends him flying back, but he's able to block it. So he sends Goma flying back, but Goma does actually block it. But this to me really reminded me of that scene from the Tournament of Power with Kefla and Goku firing the Kamehameha. Is there a good scene of this? Yeah, so it's this attack right here. Okay, so this might actually be after this, but this is the attack where Goma sends all the rocks at Goku. Yeah, I guess this is just like a normal punch of Goku trying to attack Goma. Here's Goma sending the rocks at Goku, and he's avoiding them. Okay. So then, all of a sudden, Glorio, Do, and Tamagami 1 joined with Piccolo, Supreme Kai, and Vegeta also all join back into the fight. Goku goes in for a combo and ends with a massive energy blast to Goma's midsection, which Goma really feels. Is that here? No, I don't think so. This is right before. Okay, so we'll get to this in a second. Out of nowhere, Glorio begins powering up his lightning together with Piccolo's special beam cannon, but Goma matches their attack with a blast of his own and overpowers them. But it basically what happens is Glorio is buying time because he actually notices Goku doing this, And what this is Goku just powering up a Kamehameha. So Glorio essentially jumps in because he notices this and he's trying to buy time for Goku to be able to power up his Kamehameha. So let's see. Goku, however, has been powering up a massive Kamehameha in the meantime, but before he's able to launch it. So this is like actually being a smart villain. Goma doesn't give Goku time to just power up his Kamehameha and charge it up. He actually goes in and punches him, and it really does seem like this punch might have just ended the fight. Goma punches Goku square in the face as he's powering up this Kamehameha, and there's like a slow motion scene where Goku is like falling back and it looks like he's out of it, but as he's falling back in midair, he finishes charging the Kamehameha and launches it at Goma. So let's see. But before he's able to launch it, he gets punched by Goma and interrupted. It looks as though Goku is out, but in midair, finishes charging it up and launches it at Goma with full strength, engulfing the Kamehameha in fire and blasting Goma into the ground, creating a massive crater. Yeah, so this is like, I think what they were trying to do with this is they were trying to allude back to the red Kamehameha from GT. But what they did is actually they almost, it's a blue Kamehameha, but it's almost like the final Kamehameha from Super. Remember Vegito Blue's final Kamehameha? It's like a Kamehameha with like a final flash yellow hint around it. This is almost like that, but it's with fire around it. Let's see if there's a picture of that. Yeah, so this is Goku. Basically, like this is what it looks like when he got punched. So it looks like he's like almost like dead. Goma punched him in the face. It looks like he's like dead. But it flashes and Goku snaps back into it and he finishes powering up the Kamehameha and he launches it. I don't think, yeah, okay, there actually is, there's no good image of the Kamehameha, but it's like a blue Kamehameha that's like swirled around with fire. So it did look pretty cool. And this is him launching it, and this is the actual explosion of the Kamehameha. So this is him launching upside down. He launches it. You can kind of see the fire here in red. And then this is the explosion that it makes. Okay. So at first, so again, the Kamehameha creates this massive crater. At first, Goma is nowhere to be seen, but a purple mist starts emitting from the crater, and it begins to envelop the entire area. The purple light overtakes the entire arena. So this arena right here, we can get a good picture of this arena here. So this is the devastating effect of the Kamehameha. This purple light essentially just creates a purple bubble around the entire thing, like like literally the entire like floating platform here. And Goma's hand emerges from the crater, revealing that he's grown to enormous proportions. Goku is blown back by the third eye, and Goma is like, I don't even know. He's probably around the size of like those giant, I forget what it was, like the Megas or something from an earlier episode. That's essentially how big he is. He's like this massive, massive character now. Honestly, he shouldn't even be able to fit on this because of how big it was, but he was really, really big. And I think, to me, this is another example of the third eye essentially quote unquote correcting a mistake in Goma's fighting style by not being able to withstand that Kamehameha. So the third eye, essentially, I think what's happening is it's looking at the fact that Goma actually got damaged by the Kamehameha, and they're like, okay, how do we fix this mistake? We just make him huge. So I think the third eye is essentially, again, just compensating for all these weaknesses in Goma's fighting style. So let's see if there's a good picture of this. Actually, I don't want to scroll up yet because there's more spoilers that I haven't talked about yet. So Goma next engulfs Goku in a sphere of light. It's like a greenish sphere. And Goku's like, wow, this third eye really is something else. And he begins sapping Goku of his energy. So we see Goku actually depower from Super Saiyan 4. He goes down to Super Saiyan 3. Then he goes down from Super Saiyan 3 into Super Saiyan. So while this is going on, Glorio gets a call from Arinsu. Let me just see. Yeah, okay, so this is enormous Goma. Goma just comes out of this crater, and he's just, I mean, he should not be this big. Look at this. This is little Goku in here. I mean, he's like as big as the Megas were, essentially, in that episode that no one liked. So this is Goma trapped in this like green energy sphere. And this is him going back to Super Saiyan 3. And then right after this, he actually goes back to being Super Saiyan. And then what happens is Glorio gets a call from Arinsu telling him to bring the Dragon Balls to her. So now we're getting into the Dragon Ball side of this. Glorio tells Haibisu, who actually is holding onto the Dragon Balls, that he needs the Dragon Balls and brings them over to Arinsu. And the way that they shot this scene was pretty interesting. I say shot as if they actually like use the camera. The way that they directed the scene was pretty interesting. They actually had Glorio like walking over to Haibisu, but it was filmed in the first person. It was depicted in the first person. So it's like the audience is Glorio, and it's like the camera's like going like this as Glorio's like walking over to Haibisu. I'm not sure why they decided to do it that way, but it was interesting. So yeah, Glorio gets the 3 Dragon Balls from Haibisu, and Arinsu says Glorio learned Namekian in order to summon Porunga. So we now, I don't know if they mentioned this before, but we now know that the dragon of the demon realm is Porunga also, to grant a wish, which I guess that makes sense because the Namekians created the, yeah. She tells Glorio to summon Porunga, but Glorio is like, so basically she tells Glorio, because obviously this is supposed to be a wish for her. So she's telling Glorio to summon Porunga, and this is essentially like the moment of choice for Glorio. Glorio can either, betray everybody by going with Arinsu, but it shows this before Glorio summons Porunga. It shows the scene of him kind of like thinking back to his journey with Goku and everyone else. It does a flashback to him sparring with Goku, and then he goes in to summon Porunga. So this is definitely indicative of him not going to betray everybody, which is pretty obvious. She tells Glorio to summon Porunga, but Glorio remembers his journey together with Goku and begins the summoning ritual. So Porunga appears from the Dragon Balls, except this Porunga is red and is absolutely enormous. And what this reminds me of is this is yet again another GT throwback. This is essentially Ultimate Shenron from the Black Star Dragon Ball saga, right? With the Ultimate Dragon Balls, I think is what they were called actually in the dub. The QQ, yeah, it is the Ultimate Dragon Balls. But if you guys remember the very beginning of GT, this is the dragon that Pilaf uses to wish that wish that Goku becomes a kid again. So this version of Porunga he makes Goma look like a fly. Porunga's enormous and he's red. So Ponzi and the others finally realize that Glorio actually might betray them, and because they see him summoning the dragon, everybody looks over, they're like, what is going on? They see Porunga summoned. Goma's like, what is happening? And Porunga, he's summoned and he says the typical thing, he asks Glorio to state his wish, and that'll grant any wish. And Goma all of a sudden just starts beelining for Porunga, and Goma comes in. He goes in to attack him. He goes in to attack Porunga. And Goma, with everything we've seen so far, Goma goes into Porunga with his attack. We know how strong Goma is. We know how strong the third eye is. Porunga just flicks him away like he's literally nothing. So Goma gets swatted away like this, like how Beerus did to Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And Goma is just blasted away and sent hurling away and crashes somewhere. So this Porunga is pretty strong. Pretty strong. Arinsu tells Glorio to wish to make her the most powerful demon king of all time. That's Arinsu's wish. So Glorio hesitates to do this, but begins stating his wish, and then we see Porunga begin granting his wish, which engulfs the entire area in a strange light, and that is the end of the episode. So we are put on a cliffhanger here. What did Glorio wish for? We will see in the next episode, but let's see if we can see some more pictures here. So this is Glorio summoning Porunga. This is what Porunga looks like, and there's not really a good shot here for size reference, but Goma is like the size of his fingernail, I guess is what I would say. So hold on, let's so this is how big Goma is, right? This is giant Goma, and this is how big Super Saiyan 4/3 Goku is. Goma is like the size of this fingernail. Let's see if there's a better picture here. Okay, so yeah, perfect. Here we go. Okay, no, he's definitely a little bigger than that, but like this is Goma goes for a punch, and then this guy, he literally just flicks him away like he's nothing. This Porunga's insane. So yeah, that happens, and then Glorio states his wish, and then Porunga begins to grant the wish. So I guess the question ends up being, did he actually betray everybody and go with Arinsu's wish, or did he wish for something else? We see like this shattering effect here, and that this literally is quite literally like the final 2 seconds of the episode before it cuts to the end credits. So there we go. That is the episode. And then in the next episode preview, we see a Rinsu. I mean, this is gotta be like the first 2 seconds of the next episode before Porunga goes away. We see Porunga here. This is, I guess, the Dragon Balls. Yeah, these are the 3 Dragon Balls. So they really show us nothing. They really show us nothing. Now, if I had to guess what we were going to see in the next episode, if I just had to take a wild guess, there's certainly no way we could possibly know what's going to come out in the next episode. We have a lot of stuff from GT in Daima so far, and especially in this episode, we have like a throwback to Ultimate Shenron with Porunga. Super Saiyan 4 made an appearance. We have a lot of different references to different things that have happened so far. Do you guys remember what happened at the end of GT when Super Saiyan 4 Goku couldn't beat Omega? Something happened after that where, Goku working together with an ally of his were able to create a ridiculously strong amount of energy and do something very interesting. That is what I'm thinking maybe could happen next week, but this was truly a very crazy episode. This to me is what Dragon Ball is, and just watch the episode. I am very, very, very attributable to recency bias when it comes to things like this. This is, we don't see things like this every day in Dragon Ball, right? I mean, this is like a Goku goes UI, Goku goes Blue Kaioken, we see Vegito in Super. Like, this is up there with those things for me. And again, it's not just the Super Saiyan 4 transformation, it is everything that happened in this episode. The fighting scenes were all extremely well animated. We had very crazy sequences with Goku doing the Kamehameha. Like, you guys got to see like the different attacks that Goku does in here. Like, I'm looking at all these animations and everything that's going, like, this is... They really, you could tell that they really wanted to finish Daima with a bang, and they certainly are doing that. I am very excited to see what they do next time, because if Super Saiyan 4 Goku could not fit, again, I don't know if that's the official name of it, but if Super Saiyan 4 Goku could not get the job done against Goma, it really does look like this third eye is essentially allowing Goma to adapt to anything. So the only choice it looks like they're going to really have here is to just all at once overpower Goma, and there's really only one thing that comes to mind that is seemingly able to do that. So we'll see if that's going to be the case next week. There are the bugs that they have not used yet, and they've certainly been setting that up. So next week, I think, is also going to be a very, very big week for Dragon Ball Daima. But once you guys have been able to see this, I don't think I even mentioned the name of this episode. It is Awakening, episode 18. The episode next week is called Uragiri, which is betrayal. That's what that means. So I don't even, like, I haven't felt like I can't wait another week for the next episode. Like, this is the first time I felt like this since Super. Like, this is really, we're back. This is back. Dragon Ball's back. Let me know what you guys think after you've been able to see the episode. This was it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.